Hi, I'm Jan Brett, and I'm here with Van Buren Government Access Cable.
Thank you, Jan, so much for
You are welcome.
coming here to Van Buren Township and helping us
First
out
time.
here doing So just give me a little bit of background of the inspiration behind the turnip.
The turnip, well, of course, the color of the turnip being purple on the top and yellow on the bottom right there is a good reason to do a book. But it's a folk tale that I've always loved. And in Russian, apparently, it's a tongue twister. So I had to think of a new twist since I wouldn't be telling my story in Russian. I'd be telling it in English. A tongue twister would be like how much wood would a woodchuck chuck, that kind of thing.
Sure.
So as what happens, the story is this giant turnip is found in the garden, and then various animals or people try to pull it out. So my twist was that just as the last animal is coming along, which is a little rooster, cocky little rooster, a bear hibernating, and this is shown in the borders, goes down to her den with her two little cubs after getting ready for their winter hibernation. The turnip is right where their bed should be. You can even see the bed is slightly cracked from the enormous turnip underground. And I love the idea of showing the perspective of, the underground of the turnip.
Yes.
And so, and they get in, the turnip is on their bed, so she gets her big foot out, and boop, just as the little rooster is holding the turnip leaf. And of course, then he's the hero. So he gets catapulted up into the sky, and then they make turnip pancakes for all.
Oh, yes.
So I brought you the hero of the story.
Oh.
This is Reuben. Hi, little boy.
Hi.
That's that mewing sound. That's his mate, whose name is Rilke, and they both are with me on the trip. You want to go see your girlfriend, don't you? Yes, they've had babies.
Oh,
They have, yeah.
How many?
And full grown.
Grown.
So he's a Dutch bantam. So he gets to be brought out and is paid in mealy worms.
I'm sure.
So I think he really wants to go back with his friend there. There you go, sweetie. Go back, go back.
Oh, look.
Now they're happy.
So I've noticed in some of your books that you always seem to have some sort of recipes. Is there perhaps maybe a recipe book on the way?
I don't think there's ever going to be a recipe book, but it's way out of my level of being able to do things. But there are a couple recipes, and the turnip pancakes were really quite good. And I know it's a vegetable that not everybody is enthusiastic about in the young children department.
Sure.
So
Was the turnip pancake recipe a family recipe?
no,
or-
I just made it up. I just took Joy of Cooking and did their potato pancake,
Okay.
and then put half the grating of turnip, and then you have to, of course, squeeze the moisture out, and then, of course, sauteed in butter and a little bit of olive oil. And they're really good. You can have them with applesauce or with a little salmon and creme fraiche.
Nice.
Oh,
Lovely.
so good. Yeah, I'm getting hungry
I'm
just thinking about it.
Yes.
But we went to Russia. We went to St. Petersburg to do research, quote unquote research, because it was really a lot of fun. We ate Russian food. We had one of those hot sauna baths called a banya. But best of all, in St. Petersburg, there was a lovely museum that showed some of the olden days clothes, shoes, farm implements, and I was able to take pictures, and they had lots of books and bring them back. So I felt like I brought a little piece of Russia back with me.
Yes, and I've read in your biography that you have many travels, and that's where you get a lot of your inspiration from your illustrations.
I get a
from.
lot of ideas traveling. My husband's in the Boston Symphony, and he goes on the book tour with me, and then I go on the Boston Symphony tours. So I have books, and sometimes we'll just have the destination will be for a book. So I've been to Africa 7 times, Baffin Island, which was really unusual, Costa Rica, China, lots of European countries, especially Scandinavian countries. But a lot of the books are set in my backyard. So when I do my talk today, I'll be encouraging the children to draw, and I'll tell them about my trip to Russia, but I want the message to be to look around them and to, when they have an interesting experience or see something that they think is enchants them, to put it in their own story, because that's the future, is the children that will be here, loving to read, loving their books, and hopefully I'll give them a few pointers about their drawing. Like, one of the things I'm going to tell them is if you're doing a drawing and it's almost finished, but it looks like there's something's bothering you about it, you don't know what's going wrong, you can take it and put it in a mirror. And it's like looking at it for the first time, because everything comes back to you backwards. It'll be somewhat like when you write longhand and then you type it up, or you say it out loud. There's a little bit of a change. All of a sudden, something that you're not happy with might come clear, and then you can just go on from there. And that leads me to another thing, is I meet a lot of children that are perfectionists, and I make a lot of mistakes, and kind of the fun is changing a mistake and getting it just the way you want it, and then moving on to the next level, and that's part of the fun of creating.
And is that where you drew the inspiration to start creating these how-to videos?
Videos, oh, you mentioned my website.
Yes.
I think I have about 10 videos. I don't know. I guess what happens is I get a lot of emails and letters from children, and they all want to know, how do I draw an elephant? How do I draw a tiger? And so that's a lot of fun to be able to, especially if I've gone to the country, like in Africa, and I can take some pictures and have a little bit of background video, show the animals maybe walking behind me, and then show how to draw. Because it's really an intuitive human skill to be able to draw, and the more you practice, the better that you get at it. And then sometimes what happens is, as children get older, they get a little intimidated. Is someone going to make fun of their drawing, or it's not good enough, or something that makes them stop? And we don't want that to happen, because they have something very precious, which is their imaginations.
Yeah, no.
And we look at children's drawings as adults and go, wow, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, they definitely have a wide imagination.
They do. And their line between what's real and unreal is they can just hop across that line like it's nothing, whereas we adults are much more ponderous about that.
Oh, most definitely. What is your favorite medium to draw in or illustrate in?
Well, I start out with a pencil, and I love my pencils, but I will use watercolors with a very dry brush. And I think watercolors are kind of difficult, so I didn't really start them until I was grown up. Went to art school, and I did my watercolors. Yeah.
Lovely. So you have a pilot's license.
Yes. Many years ago, I have it for gliders. So we call them sailplanes, because a glider implies that it just goes down. But you can go under a cloud or on a mountain. The air will be lifted up, and you can actually gain altitude in certain circumstances. So that's how I met my husband, Joe. He was my teacher. I guess saved my life enough times that I just fell. And I really loved being in the air. I think a lot of people gravitate towards the ocean or the air or the earth. And I'm definitely an air person.
Well, and I heard with this, now, I heard you also flew with the Blue Angels.
I know, I did. It was amazing. And I pulled 7 Gs or something like that. And I had to train for it, because you make this special breath intake where you squeeze your extremities, and that brings the blood up to your brain when you're forced, all the blood is forced away from your brain. And that's when you conk out. So I didn't want to conk out. I said, I'm not going to conk out. And I had this really great instructor. He was so nice. And we went upside down, and I was pretty nervous. I was going please God, let me live. Because we did a lot of tactical things. And it was in El Centro, California. And we went through this canyon, which teaches them how to evade radar. So you're actually between 2 rock cliffs.
Oh my goodness.
In an airplane sideways, so that's how you fit. Oh, it was really traumatic. But I loved every minute of it. It was very exciting. And also to see the expertise of these incredible pilots that are, serving our country. It was inspiring.
Oh, very. And speaking of inspiration, so do your grandchildren or your children inspire you, or are there stories about them in some of your books?
Well, they're little. So I have a granddaughter 6 and a grandson 3, but they have been living in Okinawa. Their parents are Marines. And we've done a lot of snorkeling. And they just are so at ease in the water, and we see octopus and lionfish, all these creatures. And so I decided the next book, my editor has to give it okay, is going to be a Goldilocks Under the Sea. And this, well, my granddaughter will probably be the Little Mermaid.
Oh, how lovely.
It'll be fun, except for I really want to make green hair, and I can't really put greeny locks. Or algae locks. It's going to have to be Goldilocks for people to recognize it. But then who would the three bears be? So I wanted to have it in a place where it would be tropical, so that I could do all the coral and for the bear's house. Only it won't be bears, of course. So I think it might be octopi.
Oh, very interesting.
And I don't want them to be creepy, so I'm going to have them wear cute hats.
Oh, lovely. Sounds great. I also was very curious. I've noticed that the pictures, each page it's a frame itself. That it's almost like you can kind of rip out the pages and frame it up yourself. And is that kind of intentional with everything?
Yeah. I mean, you can see in this book, this would be a good example. So here's the center page, and then on each side there's like a little window with another story going on. And they're shaped in the shape of turnips because, of course, the title of the book. But every book's a little different. Right now I'm working on a gingerbread story, so they're shaped like gingerbread men. And then I can do another story there. And then I do that when I have too many ideas.
Okay.
So I tell the children, when you have that moment, we've got too many characters running around on that page, you can put a few of them in the border.
And I've noticed a lot of the books are very Christmas themed. Are you planning on maybe doing a different holiday or?
Well, I've done an Easter holiday.
Yes.
Halloween, I have also done a book, although I think it's too scary. I'd love to do 4th of July. I love the United States and I'm very patriotic. But I have to think of a good plot. But the Christmas is, I love snow. And I just love the idea of our backyard. We live in New England. And we'll go say goodnight to my chickens, and it will be all brown and grays, and the moon will be out, and I'll walk, and then the next morning it seems very unusually quiet, and I'll open the window, it'll be all covered with snow. And it looks transformed. It looks like a totally different place than I live, because the snow, it changes the trees as they slump over, and more snow falls, that wet snow that is builds up so quickly. And I love that. I just have always loved snow, and I love skiing and skating, which is not snow but ice, but the cold weather kinds of activities are always fun for me. Even my running, I go out in the snow.
Yes, you are an avid runner, and so what's the next marathon that you're planning on?
Next is Boston. I'll have a few long runs and half marathons before then, so I'm just starting my training now, and that's always fun to be outside. I get a lot of good book ideas. So when I talk to the children, the thing they want to know is, how do you get ideas for your books? So I say, one is listening to music. Another is just before you go to bed, and you can't go to sleep. It's a good time, just as your mind is going from conscious to unconscious, this little area there where a lot of times your mind will grab onto things that, are from deep, from within. And you can use those in your books. And then another way is running or exercise. Well, I don't know what it is, but I have this one road on the way home. It's called Wildcat Road. And I always get a good idea on Wildcat Road. And sometimes I'll go out with the intention. I'll say, gotta figure out what the border on this book is going to be, or what kind of hats the octopi will wear. That's the kind of thought I will have. And I'll be running, and Wildcat Road will come up, and I'll go, something good.
Hope it comes this time.
Doesn't always happen.
That's okay. And so I also, besides your hens here, you also have Buffy, which is a hedgehog.
Oh, Buffy! We don't have Buffy
anymore. Oh.
We've had 2 hedgehogs, and they both had a long lifespan.
Okay.
But when they passed away, then I was doing an Animal Santa book that had a rabbit in it. And so we now have a bunny. His name is Little Snowshoe. He's white with little black ears. He's quite grumpy. He doesn't like to be picked up, but he does like to be cuddled. And he is in actually my husband's office. He has a little environment in there. And then I have so many chickens. I have lots of varieties of chickens and some ducks. Oh. Those are my pets. Because we travel a lot, so our dog, when we had a dog, would protest when we traveled, and now we travel even more, so it's not really fair, even though I love dogs and cats. And horses. Yes, I like animals.
Is there an animal that you wish you always could have had but haven't had a chance to?
Ooh, that's a very interesting question. Well, you can't really have wild animals. It's not very fair to them. I would love to have a horse again, and because I have a granddaughter and grandson, and I just think it's wonderful to have. They're such noble creatures. I would love to have another horse. I did have horse Hans for many years. And I got not really too old to ride, but I just got traveling so much, it was hard to balance.
Sure. Well, thank you so much, Jan, for coming
very
today
welcome.
and being here with us. And we all look forward to reading The Turnip.
December 2015, because being an artist is just a natural thing that humans do, and the more you do it, the more you practice, the better you get at it. So even though I'm a grown lady and I do lots of children's books, there's a little voice inside of me that when I do a new book, I always say, oh, I hope this one's going to be the best one ever. I'm going to try really hard, and maybe it will be a little bit better than the one before. So that I put the date on it, and when my books have a date on them, and then I can keep track. So I hope that you have a great time in the next couple of days working on your own pictures and astounding the world around you with your artistry. Thank you very much.